I simmed 3 years in NHL 23 franchise mode and decided to rebuild the worst team in the NHL. And coincidentally, it was the team I auto-selected to sim those 3 years, which was the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this team had a lot of holes. They lost Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner. They're not playing up to their success. And honestly, you can tell Matthews left town to go to Anaheim, as he was tearing it up with 63 goals, 42 assists, and 105 points. And Columbus jumps from 10-1, and we'll be picking 3rd overall in this NHL draft. And with that 3rd overall pick, we would take Malik Zanetti, the American playmaker, the center. Hopefully, it'd be our franchise center in this franchise mode. And it was up to him or the guy behind him, which was Charlie Hernandez, and I probably should have took Charlie Hernandez. He does seem to be a little better.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And I decided that I wanted an entirely new coaching staff from top to bottom. Everything needed a change. And at the re-sign phase, mainly everyone re-signs and comes back here in Toronto because they're building in, they're trusting the culture I'm building here, because we know we're going to go win the cup within these next 3 years that I have the chance to go win this cup. And I have this coach in mind. I want to take over the bench. That's Hugo Danis. We're going to be competing against Calgary for him, but I believe we're going to be able to go get him. And I'm looking to see who we can trade potentially who has the highest cap hit to clear up some cap space. And I noticed that Justin Schultz, he could be an interesting pick, but yet again, he's just coming off a 36-point season, so I thought, maybe not, take it back, maybe be a smart move to keep him around. But I see that TJ Brody's still on the Toronto Maple Leafs, so we are going to trade him and salary dump him to Buffalo. We're going to accept that deal for a 2nd and 3rd round pick just to clear up cap space so we can make more moves this offseason. And I saw that Brock Besser hit the market, so I gave Brock Besser an offer of $6.1 million times 4 to try and bring him here into Toronto, because we need a goal scorer like him, and the amount of how good he would be for this team would be fantastic. We're also going to bring in Dylan Coghlan, who actually had a pretty good season last year. He's 27 years of age. I really like the fit there. So we are going to try and bring him in by also bringing in veteran presence like Jamie Benn on a pretty decent contract. Nothing too crazy. And honestly, fill the throw. We got to bring back the Toronto Maple Leaf legend. Come on now. And of course, that son of a bitch coach did not want to sign with us. He wanted to go to Calgary, but he's going to regret that decision a couple of years' time, because he could be a Stanley Cup champ if he stayed here. However, we saw another coach who fit the scheme very, very well. It would fit the team very well, and that would be Pierre Carl. We're giving him the bag. We're giving him the bag to make sure that Carolina doesn't snag him just like Calgary snagged the other guy. I'm not going through that again. And he does accept it because he's not a snake-ass bitch like the Owen. And all of our free agents that we went after signed, except the one, the only, Brock Besser. Of course, he goes to my favorite team, the Philadelphia Flyers. Of course, that stupid son of a bitch. Why would you want to go there over here in Toronto? What do they got cooking? Not much. And then obviously just going through the team, and I noticed that we have Zachary Benson. I never realized that we actually had Zachary Benson on this Toronto Maple Leafs team, and he looks like he's going to be destined for greatness in these 3 years that we're going to be rebuilding this team. And I'm very, very stoked for seeing what we got. And we also noticed that Marc-Andre Fleury is also a Toronto Maple Leaf, and he did not have a very good year last year. And Joseph Wall looks to be a better option to be the backup goaltender. So I decided to trade Marc-Andre Fleury to the Detroit Red Wings for Robbie Fabry and a 5th round pick to create cap space and actually promote Joseph Woll to the backup goaltender role, because we really need him. And I also went after Nicholas Backstrom because we could use more depth down the middle, and I thought it would be a great addition to bring him in. And of course, he signs here in the Toronto, and look at these lines we got cooking here. We got Zachary Benson, John Tavares, Mitch Marner, 1st line. 2nd line, Robertson, Backstrom, Nylander. 2nd line. 3rd line, Jamie Benn, Calle Yarncroke, Phil Kessel. 4th line, you got Matthew Knees, however the fuck you say his last name, Marcus Johansson, and the 4th winger over there would be Craig Smith. Defensively, you got Morgan Riley, Justin Schultz, Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Villinger, Nikita Zadorov, and Dylan Coghlan. And it was now time to start year 1 of the 3-year rebuild. And at New Year's, we were sitting at a 21-11-4 record, sitting up top of our division with 48 points on the season. We were looking very, very good here at this point. And looking at our player stats, Zachary Benson, have yourself a year, buddy. Almost a point per game, 14 goals, 21 assists on 35 points. How about Mitchie? 32 points in 36 games. How about John Tavares aging like a fine wine, having himself a hell of a year? And we're getting great goaltending this season. We're looking very damn good. And as you can tell, it's 46 points, not 48 points. We're doing very well, and that puts us second in the NHL in total points, and we are having a magnificent season. And at the trade deadline, we traded for Blake Wheeler to tighten up that forward core, get some more depth from third line on back. And here's the lines. We have him paired up with Nicholas Backstrom, and we call him Malik Zanetti, the rookie we drafted in the last draft. We called him up. He's going to be paired up with Wheeler and Backstrom, thinking it will help develop Zanetti a little bit. And we do make the playoffs, and we will be taking on the Buffalo Sabres in the first round. We finished atop our division with 108 points, 50 wins, 24 losses, and 8 overtime losses. We were scoring pretty good, 311 goals per game, and our goals against, one of the best in the league at 266. We were getting great goaltending out Ilya Samsonov and Joseph Woll, and that puts us just 2 points out of becoming the President's Trophy team, which is actually kind of a blessing, because if you win the President's, you guys know the drill, you do not win the Stanley Cup. And as you can tell, Mitchie gets a point per game. How about Zachary Benson, 76 points in 82 games. Willie Nylander had a hell of a year. John Tavares doing really well. Blake Wheeler, great addition for us. Even though he only had 6 points, he's helped a little bit tighten up in the forward core, is more depth. He should be a great acquisition for playoffs. Justin Schultz had himself a career year, 42 points in 82 games. And then Ilya Samsonov, yeah, 916 save percentage on 251 goals against. Have yourself a season, buddy. And now for the time for the playoffs, Game 1, we would actually defeat the Buffalo Sabres, and we would go up 1-0 in the series. How about Game 2? We also win. We've been both games in Toronto. Now this is big. Can we steal Game 3 in Buffalo? And we do. We're up to a 3-0 series lead. Can we finally get out of the first round for the first time since 2004? No, we cannot. We cannot sweep the Sabres. However, we wanted to win on home ice. No big deal. Game 5, we do take it, and now we move on to the second round. Finally, we've done it. And I noticed that snake-ass bitch, Austin Matthews, he's currently tied 2-2 in his series against the Flames. Will Austin Matthews not make it out of the first round? Will we do it before he does? Game 7 against the Flames. Does he get past? No, he does not. He's the reason why we couldn't get past the first round. Austin Matthews was holding this team back. That snake bastard, guess what? Now he's not making it in the first round. We up, he out, he down. Whatever the fuck the saying is. And we would win Game 1 3-2, and however we would lose right back after that 2-0 L against the Red Wings, and then a 3-1 L in Game 3. We need this win here in Detroit. We need this win against the Red Wings, and we lose 3-2. And boys, it's not looking good. We're down 3-1 going into Game 5 back in Toronto. We don't want to go down losing in our own building. No. So I make some big line changes. I move some stuff around. Put Tavares on the first line. I put Robertson back second line center. I move Nylander to the wing. Actually, I move Blake Wheeler up to the left wing. Zanetti, we're going to leave him as is. And we're going to rock with these lines in hope to spark something and bounce a 3-1 comeback. We do win Game 5. However, in Game 6, we would go on to lose 3-2 against the Red Wings, and we would get bounced out in year 1. And here's the playoff picture, and of course the Red Wings go to the finals, and that could have been us if we were to beat the Red Wings. That could have been us.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
And the Boston Bruins jumped 10 spots up 11-1 and got the first overall pick. What kind of horseshoe they got up their ass? I don't know how much help they need, but they got a lot of it now. And with our pick, I decided to explore some trade options that we would potentially maybe see if there's anyone we really like or anything that could really suit the defense or offense, because we need some defensive help, I would say. And boys, did we find a good ass addition. John Marino, getting rid of our pick and a couple other picks, getting rid of an acquisition to beefing up this defense. Marino, Lillian Green, Sandin, Mo Riley. That top 4 is absolutely deadly. And John Tavares' contract is now up, and he wants less money. So that is such a dub. We got that massive contract off the books, and we can keep him around as Matthew Nyes. We're going to try and finesse him and try and get him on less money. And as you guys can tell, John Tavares re-signs. What a team player. Thankfully, his contract's up, and he's not getting paid $11 million no more. Joseph Woll does dip, and he does leave Toronto because we didn't give him the amount of money he wants or the ice time he believes he deserves, so he does bounce and go wherever else. I don't know. for sure. And we do re-sign Matthew Nyes. I didn't realize he hit the market for a moment, but we do get him back, and we do get him. And we also re-signed Blake Wheeler. And then here's the line. It's basically rocking the same team besides a little bit of a revamped defense. Blake Wheeler comes back. We moved up Malik Zanetti to the second line, paired up with Nyes and Nylander, Robertson, Backstrom, and Wheeler. Third line, Rodi Amirev, Calle Yarncrook, and Jamie Benn. Fourth line, and then your defensive pairings. Mo Riley, John Marino, Rasmus Sandin, Timothy Liljegren, Justin Schultz, Dylan Coughlin. That third line defense is worrying me a little bit, but Schultz had a great year last year. We're hoping he can have some great things here in Toronto here in year 2, and hopes to get us to the Cup Finals and win us a Cup. And obviously you can tell a young prospect, Leonin, however the fuck you say his name, he is our backup goaltender for this season. And at the New Year's, we were struggling. We were 15-3, sitting at 33 points, one spot out of our playoff spot within our division. Our division wasn't very strong, honestly. You can tell Montreal. We also had 2 games in hand over them, so that wasn't really helping. We were not scoring, nor really having that as good as defense that we had last year. So I make a ballsy-ass move, bringing back Michael Bunting, trading seconds, thirds, 2/3 and 2/4 in exchange for Michael Bunting. And look at these lines. That top 6 is absolutely deadly. Hell, even the top 9, if you want to include Zanetti in that third line, that looks deadly. And defensively, we're still rocking the same pairings. We did take out Justin Schultz, and we put in Kokkonen in hopes that would change some things, and it did. We went on a roll all the way up to the trade deadline. 34, 22, and 6. Mitch Marner really started settling in. Zachary Benson took a step up. Mo Riley, Willie Nylander, everyone kind of started doing better. Michael Bunting was a great acquisition. 18 points in 29 games for us. So I decided to trade Justin Schultz and a 5th and a 6th in exchange for Erik Karlsson for 1, better defense, and 2, some better offensive capability from the back end. However, I got fucking bamboozled because we can't bring up Karlsson because we have no money.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
And for the second straight season, we made the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. This time around, taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. And as you can tell, we finished with a 46-28-8 record with 100 points. We looked very solid this year, and I felt our chances were pretty good taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. And as you can tell, Mitch Marner almost with a point per game. Willie Nylander second in points. How about Michael Bunting? He did cool off a little bit as time went on, as the season progressed. However, he was still such a very good addition to this Maple Leafs roster. And then we would get bounced in 6 games against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We struggled offensively, and defensively we couldn't get it really a stop. It was a little bit of a struggling issue that we had. However, we saw that Austin Matthews, yet again for the second straight year, couldn't get out of the first round. So it made us feel a little bit better about ourselves, knowing that he couldn't get the job done as well. But it is what it is. And now this is a very pivotal year 3 offseason. We need to do something to counteract us getting bounced 2 years in a row. We only have 1 more year to go win the Cup. As you can see, the Montreal Canadiens do go on to win the Cup. We only have 1 more year to go and chase and win a Stanley Cup. And at the draft, I did attempt to look and find a trade, but I couldn't find a good deal that was worth giving up our first round pick. So we just took the prospect, Louis Corbett, or Corbet, however the fuck you say his last name. We took him in hopes that maybe we can deal him or whatever, but I just felt like it was the best move because no one was worthy going and getting rid of our pick. Or if we did try, they didn't want to take the deal. So, and at the re-sign phase, we actually do re-sign John Marino, Rasmus Sandin, Nicholas Backstrom, and most of the guys that contracts were up. We extended them, we kept them, and we're trying to keep that core and run it back next year and make some key additions. And boy, do we do so. By targeting Jake Ottinger, yes, Otter. We go after Jake Ottinger, and he does sign and become a Toronto Maple Leaf. And we also make some other moves, bringing in Oliver Shillington, bringing in Anthony Mantha, Brady Shea, Philly Husso. I mean, we were stacking up. And since we signed Jake Ottinger, we decided to trade Ilya Samsonov 1-for-1 for Colin White. I felt like it was just a simple trade that we needed to do and move along, just get a nice little depth piece forward line, and they need goaltender. It worked out for both sides. And here is your year 3 Toronto Maple Leafs lineup. First line looking deadly: Michael Bunting, Zachary Benson, Mitch Marner. Second line, Willie Nylander, Zanetti, and Robertson. Third line, Nees, Tavares, Mantha. And then fourth line, Amirov, Backstrom, Colin White. Defensively, Mo Riley, Oliver Shillington, Rasmus Sandin, John Marino, Brady Shea, and Timothy Liljegren. And honestly, we got the Otter, Jake Ottinger, and Billy Husso as the backup. And a little over halfway into the season, we were really struggling. We were 21-22-2. So in the meantime, I made a trade for Matt Coronado in hopes that this would spice up a spark offensively, because boys, we really need it. We absolutely stunk offensively, and was hoping that this move can turn it all around. And come trade deadline, we were not much better. We were 30-30-3. I was in shambles, so in a desperation move, I traded for Joel Farabee in hopes it can really spark something. And boys, we were down bad, sitting at 63 points and many spots out of the playoffs. We were down bad, and we needed something to change drastically, and it would not change drastically, and we would miss the playoffs in year 3. Our hopes and dreams of making the playoffs in hopes to win that cup within the 3rd year, because we couldn't do it the first 2, goes up in smoke, in the flames, and we do not accomplish our goal, and you know what that means.
The biggest thing to hit Canada because the Maple Leafs